Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be another Canadian Soldier Reacts video, and today we're doing something a little different. We are going to look today at, is expensive gas better for your car? Now, why do I even know anything at all about this? Well, back in the late 80s when I was in 1RCR, I took an M113 driver track and dozer course, and I made the mistake of asking the instructor about the compression ratio of the car, or of the 113, because I knew at the time the compression ratio of my car was somewhere around 8 to 1. I had read the owner's manual, and he was telling me that the compression ratio of the M113 was somewhere around 14-ish to 1. So I asked the question. Well, rather than giving me an answer, he told me to go out and research it and then to come back and teach a class on compression ratios. I learned then and there never to ask instructors questions during class. And what I did learn, however, in order to teach that class, was that the typical compression ratio of any diesel engine is between 14 to 1 and 25 to 1. Which is generally about double a gasoline engine. A gasoline engine's compression ratio is somewhere between 8 to 1 and 12 to 1. The reason for this is that diesel gasoline is actually less combustible at higher temperatures than gasoline is, or gasoline is more combustible. So what exactly is compression ratio? It is the difference between the volume of fuel-air mixture, which is in your cylinder when the piston is at bottom dead center, versus the volume which is there when the piston is at top dead center. So your engine will inject a gas-air mixture into your cylinder, and then the piston will rise to compress that. And that's done to ensure that, well, for a couple of reasons. It ensures better combustion, and it also is what provides the power. The actual explosion of that gasoline is what provides the power, and that turns your crank, which turns a whole bunch of things, including your wheels. When that fuel-air mixture is compressed, the act of compressing that actually causes heat to be generated. And if you compress that too much, the fuel-air mixture will spontaneously explode before the engine expects it to explode, and that's not a good thing. Now, the difference between a gasoline or petrol engine and a diesel engine is not really all that big. They've got inlets, they've got exhausts, there's air intake, there's fuel intake, there's a piston, there's a crankshaft, and the only big thing is the difference with a spark plug being there or not. Now, if you want to add superchargers and turbochargers into the mix, the two of those do almost exactly the same thing. They just do it two different ways. They add compressed airflow into the fuel-air mixture, which helps give you more power from your explosion. Now, what is engine knock and why is it bad? Engine knock happens when you have a spontaneous explosion of the fuel-air mixture before the spark plug can actually ignite the fuel-air mixture. Why is it bad? Because all of the pistons in your car are connected using a crankshaft. And that crankshaft is very specifically engineered so that the piston will be at its absolute top when the fuel-air mixture is exploded. And that will allow the following pistons to come up without anything impeding them, and it will force the piston that has just exploded down, creating power. Now, if the gasoline explodes in one of those trailing pistons before it reaches the top, now you've got an explosion in a trailing piston that hasn't reached its top yet, trying to force your crankshaft backwards while the other pistons are trying to force your crankshaft forwards. And that can cause all kinds of problems to your crankshaft, to your pistons, to your cylinders, and most certainly to the performance of the car. Now, what does octane do? To make a long story short, octane simply makes it more difficult for gas to burn. It makes it so that the gas will not spontaneously combust before the spark can go off in higher compression cars. So it raises the temperature and the pressure at which the gas will spontaneously combust. That's it. Octane does nothing more than that. Now, why is that important? So, in the 70s, in the early 70s, around 73, we started phasing out leaded gasoline. And lead was there for a couple of reasons. One of them being lubricating the engine. But as leaded gasoline started getting phased out, it had to be replaced with something that would help control the level of spontaneous combustion, the octane level in the cars. Now, and you'll notice, right, this is a comparison of compression ratios of vehicles over the years, and it has been steadily going up with a little bit of a blip here, but basically steadily going up. The compression ratios have been steadily going up since the gasoline engine was introduced back in 1918 or something like that. And at this point in time, average compression ratios of cars are climbing close to 11-1, meaning that it's much more likely that gasoline engines are going to cause gasoline to spontaneously combust before the spark goes off. Now, let's talk about ethanol. What is ethanol? Make a long story short, ethanol is alcohol which is made from corn. It's nothing more than that. Ethanol is an additive that gets added to gasoline primarily to increase its octane rating, which we just talked about. It also acts as what's called an oxygenate, which they say contributes to cleaner combustion, although we'll talk about that in a little bit. So around the 1973, around 1973, ethanol really started getting added more to your gasoline. So what is the cost of ethanol? Well, according to most research, introducing ethanol into gasoline did not cause a significant increase in gas prices. In fact, studies suggest it may have slightly lowered prices. But as you can guess, there's a lot of conflicting information on the internet. Some research supports the notion that ethanol lowers gas prices, while others argue that the impacts are minimal or even negligible. If you look at gas prices in the 1970s, around 1973, when ethanol was starting to be introduced, you'll notice that gas prices went steadily up. Now, obviously, there were a lot of things happening in the world in the 70s, which all combine to affect the price of gas. But One of the things that you do know is that adding ethanol did not appear to decrease the price of gasoline at all. And that's important because as of now, we're starting to see ethanol-free gasolines popping up everywhere. And to make the math really simple, there's somewhere between a 25 and 35% premium being added to the cost of fuel to stop adding ethanol. Let me say that again. They stopped the process of adding this ethanol, and because of that, increased the gas prices between 25 and 35%. Now, they say now that ethanol-free gas or non-ethanol gas or pure gas is gasoline that doesn't contain ethanol, will give you better fuel mileage by approximately 3%, longer shelf life for the gas, less corrosive gas, so it will corrode the engine's fuel system less over time, and cleaner combustion. They're saying that ethanol fuel provides cleaner combustion than gasoline with ethanol. However, if you remember back to a few minutes ago, when they were first putting ethanol in the gas, and even up to today, they're saying gas with ethanol burns cleaner, which helps provide cleaner combustion. So they're saying with ethanol, cleaner combustion, without ethanol, cleaner combustion. It's all marketing, quite honestly. Now, what does all this mean to all of us? Long story short, it means read your owner's manual. But what I will tell you, higher octane will not, and I repeat, will not give you better gas mileage all by itself, period. Read your owner's manual, follow the octane recommendations in your owner's manual. Now, if you don't want to read your owner's manual, the simple thing to do is listen for the knocking. If you can use a lower octane fuel and it does not cause engine knocking, that means your engine's working just fine and you do not need the more expensive fuels. Period. Now, what about additives and detergents? Because that's the next argument that everyone always gives you. The good stuff has all of these additives and detergents. Well, long story short is all gasolines have additives and detergents in them. The additives and detergents can fluctuate wildly, and they can do that simply between the same octane rating at different outlets, different retailers. But to make a long story short, what those detergents do basically is to help remove or not allow buildup of residue on your pistons and valves. One independent study by the National Center for Vehicle Emissions Control and Safety at the Colorado State University found that short-term mileage was not improved when Aditech, which is a specific type of fuel detergent, was not improved when Aditech was added to the fuel. It's impossible to say with any kind of certainty that all fuel additives work or don't work, but some have shown some benefits for certain drivers. It's also important to note that all fuel additives have to be registered with the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, but that doesn't mean that the EPA tests any of the additives claims. Any additive that claims that they're endorsed, certified, or approved by the EPA are lying to you. They're falsely advertising their qualifications. So what's my conclusion in all of this? So I can't tell you what to do. I will tell you, read your owner's manual and follow the instructions in your owner's manual. I can tell you what I do. And I use the lowest octane fuel that is out there on my 2018 Dodge Challenger RT. And I get good gas mileage, good performance, and I get no engine knock. So my advice to you, don't use any higher octane than you absolutely need to in order for your car to run without knocking. And that's it. That's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next one.